Oye Primos. Have you guys ever heard of this show? This is the character here. Her name is Tater. It's not Dora the Explorer, you racist. No, seriously speaking, this show has garnered a lot of controversy for many things, actually. It's actually a laundry list of things, a list that you probably wouldn't want to take to your grocery store. Like, that's how many things there are. Well, actually, it's just 3 things. The first one being the fact that the title is misspelled, right? The character's names is another one. And then lastly, of course, the place she lives at, which is Earthquake Heights, if you translate that from Spanish to English. And I kind of want to go ahead and talk about what I discovered, because I think a lot of this stuff is pretty interesting. There's a lot of people online that are talking about this show. I feel like a lot of it is kind of unwarranted, but most importantly, a lot of people are kind of spreading a bit of misinformation about this show in particular. But before we continue, I'm going to go ahead and call this out because I see no one online calling it out, and I think that a crime has been committed here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this scene right here. You can see that she's writing on a book, right? No problem here. It's imaginary, right? But then in the next scene, you can see that she's writing towards the sunset and what appears to be the letter O in the sky. Like, the book has no propulsion system, no wings, and it's not even flapping. That is breaking the laws of physics. And in my opinion, I feel like she needs to either be executed or do life in prison. I know, I'm just kidding, guys. No, seriously, let's talk about the issues now, okay? So obviously, one of the biggest controversies is the name, okay? The name Oye Primos. People don't like the fact that it's Oye Primos because it's supposed to be Oigan Primos, because in Spanish, when there's I believe a noun that is pluralized, the verb has to be plural as well. At least that's my understanding. I don't really know too much Spanish, so I don't really know. But it's supposed to kind of follow that format, and it's not in this title. But that's on purpose because the creator of the show wanted it to be that way. Because the character, Tater, her Spanish is broken.
My main character, Tater, actually doesn't speak Spanish. That's why she says Oye Primos, because it's obviously wrong. But for every single actor who read a script or read the premise, immediately they came in and they were just like, I feel so lucky to have been, a part of this, to be a part of this project.
I mean, in some way, almost any voice actor would be blessed to be a part of any project, honestly, because I mean, this line of work is very difficult to land a role. And the fact that they landed a role with you, I'm pretty sure that they're grateful for the fact that they're able to cast a voice for your show. That's just a side note. To go back to the topic, yeah, she wanted her character to have broken Spanish. And if you guys know anything about Mexican Americans, a lot of Mexican Americans have broken Spanish. And the fact that her character has broken Spanish, it seems to me like she did that intentionally. Obviously, as we're going to go through this video, you're going to see that there are many more experiences of her childhood or even her teenagehood where she doesn't exactly know Spanish, and this character is more or less a reflection of her. Now I want to go ahead and showcase to you guys this word pocho. This word pocho is supposed to be a derogatory term towards Mexican Americans that don't exactly know how to speak Spanish and have broken Spanish. Its original definition means rotten, so it doesn't exactly mean good job in Spanish. A lot of Mexican Americans do not like being called out on their Spanish. Oftentimes the immigrated generation loves to call out these Mexican Americans for not speaking the Spanish, for not speaking the language well, and it doesn't exactly rub them the right way. That sounded wrong. So this in a way supports what she's trying to state here, that the title of the name is broken, and it's because of that reason. Mexican Americans have broken Spanish. I do also want to go ahead and just kind of dispel this tweet that talks about how she knew nothing about Spanish prior to working on the show, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous and hilarious, because obviously, because if you listen to the interview, she talks about how she had a relationship with her grandmother who only spoke Spanish.
While, as I mentioned, my grandmother was a huge presence in my life. She mostly spoke Spanish. And
I do want to go ahead and say, whoever tweeted that comment or that post, you can bet for damn sure that their IQ is an improper fraction. Now I want to go ahead and talk about this particular scene right here where we see a pair of shoes hanging on some wires. Now, according to a lot of people online, this is a sign that a gang occupies the territory or something similar to that, which they're not incorrect. However, the thing is that they conveniently left out other details about that particular sign. You see, there's a lot of reasons why they leave shoes like this. Sometimes it's because people graduate and so they want to toss their shoes onto the telephone wires. other reasons is because it's some sort of like ceremony. Other people believe that it's some sort of like way to fend off spirits. I mean, there's just so many reasons as to why people would throw shoes on telephone wires. So if people are going to cover the reasons why, I think that at least make it fair so then people know the complete reason as to why people toss shoes on wires. Obviously, the director and the creator of the show, she grew up around this kind of neighborhood. So, I mean, I think it's only fair for her to attempt to capture that atmosphere as best as possible, even if it did include stuff such as shoes on wires. I think that was a nice touch because, yeah, some Hispanics do live in territories like that. That's just a reality. Honestly, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. I think if anything, we should be able to capture these moments and help people understand that this is a part of the culture. There's going to be some ugly to the culture, and this is one of them. I want to also mention how some people are drawing a comparison to the Loud House with this show, talking about how they have the same premise. No, they don't have the same premise. When you go online to see what the premise is about, you can see that it's talking about how this girl is trying to find herself in her own culture. She feels like she can't identify, especially having broken Spanish. She doesn't know where she could fit in. As compared to the premise in the Loud House, it was more or less Lincoln trying to survive, living in a chaotic house, trying to find peace. I mean, these are two different premises. So I really don't like it when people try to draw comparisons for this show with other shows that are similar to it. Like, dude, like, we haven't even watched the show to begin with. It's not even out. It's just a theme. But yet you're still making that assumption that it's going to be anything like the Loud House, which to me, it's kind of like, bro, like, it's so obvious you're just trying to be mad. You're just trying to be angry at something that you should not be angry about because it doesn't exist. Remember, there are many shows out there that look very similar but completely different, like F is for Family, Family Guy, American Dad, The Simpsons, what is it, King of the Hill, I believe, even Bob's Burgers too. So the fact that this guy is saying that it looks similar, like, it's like, bro, it looks similar perhaps to you, but we don't know the actual premise since the show hasn't been out yet. We don't know what it's gonna be like. A lot of Hispanic families grow up with big families, there is a lot of cousins, uncles involved because, of the boomer age. And of course, Italians are like that as well. So she kind of talks about this in an interview where she talks about how she had like 28 cousins, but she kind of couldn't fit all her cousins into the show. Otherwise, I think she would have. But she can only fit like around 12 of them.
From them came another, all my primos, my giant family, which is showcased in the series. In reality, I actually have 28 cousins. So the series only focuses on 12 just to kind of like whittle everything down.
All of this controversy ended up leading to the video that was posted on the Disney YouTube channel to get massively disliked, and obviously it didn't recover from that. Nonetheless, though, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it there. That's quite unfortunate that it happened to this show. It probably looks like a good show. It looks like a good show. I like the theme song a lot. It's actually quite catchy. But I mean, the internet is gonna do what the internet's gonna do. I'm not gonna talk about the TikTok or the Instagram story of the main voice actor because I thought what she said was just kind of stupid. So I'm not gonna go and talk about that. Nonetheless, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. That's all I have for you guys today, and hopefully you guys learned something today.